And this is a story you won't have read a whole lot about in the mainstream media, but on Friday, the 20th of December, Matt Nippert, an excellent investigative reporter from the Herald, published a piece suggesting that the New Zealand Charities Registry was moving to deregister the Waiperera Trust, which has millions and millions of dollars of government money and a huge surplus, and largely funds through a variety of shenanigans the Māori Party, and it's headed by John Tamihere, that the Waiperera Trust is going to be deregistered. We got an official statement from the registrar yesterday, which we thank them for, which tells us that they have told the Waiperera Trust that they will lose their registration as a charity, as an official New Zealand charity, but they had a time period to lodge an objection to that decision, and from reading the release, there is now some sort of legal argument or appeals process going on regarding the Waiperera Trust. I think it would be fair to say, from my experience and observed historical fact, that Mr. Tamihere can be very litigious and very, very sort of legally nitpicking when his operations are challenged by bureaucrats or anyone else. So it would appear to me that the authorities are moving very cautiously and crossing every T and dotting every I as they move to deregister the Waiperera Trust. It is a hugely significant story because it would affect greatly the ability of the Māori Party to campaign and have major implications for the money that they receive to campaign with their, I think it would be fair to say, extremist radical views on race and the Treaty of Waitangi in New Zealand. So what is the legal situation about being a registered charity, and what might be going on here? I thought the best person to talk to, and we've talked to her before, is a lawyer with expertise in this field, Sue Barker. And Sue joins us on the line now. Sue, thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
Pleasure. Hello, Sean. Good morning.
All right. So deregistration, right, is clearly, in the statement we got yesterday, suggests that is the process that is underway. Is that a straightforward process, or is it subject to appeal by the organisation that might be subject to deregistration?
Well, it should be a straightforward process. We've got a new appeals and objections process that was brought in by the Charities Amendment Act with effect from 5 July last year. So the decision that the Charities Registration or Charity Services has made, they haven't actually made a decision to deregister the trust yet. They've made what's known as a notice of intention to make a decision under Section 55B, I think it is, of the new rules. So they've sent the trust a letter saying we intend to deregister you, and the trust has 2 months to object to that, which according to the notice
ran out 22nd November.
That's right. So that's what it's done. Excuse me. So now there's an objection process, and under this new process, Charity Services or the Charities Registration Board have to provide an oral hearing of evidence, which they always really did have to do because they have to provide natural justice. But there's no time limit on this process, so who knows how long it may go for.
Okay. So there will be a hearing where the Waiperera Trust, where the Commission presents its evidence and the Waiperera Trust gets to cross-examine them or to present its own case?
Well, hearing is probably a bit strong. I mean, it's called an oral hearing, but it's not before a court. It's before the Charities Registration Board, and it could be done by Zoom or online. So really, it's an opportunity to be heard because that's a key plank of natural justice. And it was a criticism of the previous process because of the difficulties we had with the appeals process, not giving charities a proper oral hearing of evidence. So this was intended to give an oral hearing of evidence, but not before a court. And Charity Services and the Charities Registration Board aren't subject to the rules of evidence. So hearing is a bit strong. So, and it will all be done behind closed doors.
That was going to be my other question. If there's a hearing and it's a public matter, surely it should be open to the public.
Well, absolutely, and the whole premise of the Charities Amendment Act was transparency and accountability in decision making. But if you look at Charity Services website, I could find nothing about this apart from the 4 or 5 line note in to Waipareira's financial statements. So transparency, I think, could be much more forthcoming.
So. Well, here's the question then, and it is bloody difficult when we have a bureaucracy that is this opaque, to be honest, Sue. Can we say that the Waiperera Trust is going to be deregistered?
Well, we should, because it is a very clear breach of the law. I mean, I personally, I want to see Māori succeed. I think, when Māori do well, we all do well, but the ends do not justify the means. It has to be done according to law, because if one charity is supporting political parties, then why wouldn't any other charity support political parties? And then we basically undermine trust and confidence in the entire charitable sector, because political parties are not charitable.
Yeah, and we look at some outfits that have been deregistered, and particularly Family First, who don't support particular political parties, don't lend money to political parties for campaigning, yet they are deregistered and cannot get charitable status. So there doesn't seem to be a lot of consistency here either.
I find that particularly frustrating, is that when things actually do go wrong, they spend a lot of time and resource deregistering, the ultimate sanction, charities that have not broken any laws and have not done anything wrong in charities law terms. But then when something actually goes wrong with a charity, it's taken them 4 years so far. Who knows how long the appeals process will go. Once the the objections process will go. Once the objections process has finished, there is then a right of appeal to the Charities and Taxation Review Authority, and there's a right of appeal to the High Court and potentially also to the Court of Appeal.
So this could go on for another 4 years too?
Or more, easily.
Is there any way to circumvent that for a minister to just say, no, that's it? You ain't a charity no more.
The whole point of charities is that they are independent of government, which is one of the difficulties with having decisions being made about charities within a business unit of a government department. This was the very controversial disestablishment of the Charities Commission in 2012. We really do need an independent body making decisions about who's eligible to be a charity, because we can't have it changing every 3 years or so, depending on who's in government. Charities are able to exist in perpetuity, which means decisions about who's eligible to be registered must be made independently of government. So I would be concerned if the minister did intervene. What I would like to see is Charity Services and the Charities Registration Board apply the law. This is a clear breach of the law. If Waiperera refuses to comply with the law, then they should be deregistered. And that is their role. And I would like to see them do it.
In the meantime, for example, Greenpeace is still a charity, despite the fact it's clearly politically active, absolutely clearly in support of the Green Party. All right, so it sounds to me like we may not be any further towards a resolution. I had been hopeful when I'd read that story before Christmas that something was going to happen. Meantime, the Trust has also got an investigation by Mike Heron QC, a commission into its activities, campaigning, and I know that it's leaked some stuff from Stats that was trying to say it was cleared. It's really a very unsatisfactory state of affairs, isn't it, Sue?
Yes, well, I had a look at their financial statements yesterday, and I wasn't aware of the Mike Heron QC investigation, but there was another investigation in the financial statements. Perhaps it was that. So, all of this is a big distraction, and from what they should be doing, which is focusing on their charitable purposes.